So the Near protocol, they've been preparing for years at this point. I'm not joking. They recently made a post not too long ago indicating how actually for quite a number of years now, they've been preparing slowly but surely somewhere along those lines, and how it's pretty much centered around AI. Why does this matter? Well, it's because I think that the Near protocol has done quite a genius move in terms of being focused on AI, at least for the past couple of years, and I think it could really transform it maybe because we see the narrative when it comes to AI in regard to stocks, but we haven't really seen it trickle over into this space. But what happens if it does? The Near protocol, it's just chilling right there. It's kind of hypothetically waiting. And I'll get all into that in today's video, but I first want to clarify, nothing I say is financial advice. I am not telling anyone to do anything, and this is just my personal perspective and review when it comes to the Near protocol. But here's the thing. Near, I think, did a very ambitious move, because when I first believed in this, I didn't hear anything pretty much in regard to AI. When I first believed in Near, it was known as a project that has an aspect of sharding technology. That was all pretty much what people cared about when it comes to this. But then somewhere along the line, they suddenly were really focused when it comes to AI, at least publicly, which kind of shifted the narrative. Did you know that Near, they shifted towards AI so kind of well, in my opinion, and it was so well noted to the point that even the Grayscale Decentralized AI Fund, when it comes to that, guess who makes up the largest percentage as of right now when it comes to that fund? It is none other than Near, which is kind of shocking to some people because they would automatically assume something like BitTensor and having its native token called Tau, they would assume that, oh, shouldn't that make up the biggest percentage? Because BitTensor is historically, it's just known for AI. But when it comes to Near, sometimes people don't really expect that. They're like, what? Seriously? But yeah, that's allegedly the case. Could you imagine that? It's like what the Near protocol did, I think, is so impressive. It's like turning a Ferrari into a Range Rover, or turning a Ferrari into a Jeep Wrangler or Jeep Gladiator. Like, what? That's how impressive their achievement is, in my opinion. From being a project that's kind of known for sharding technology, and then having this really massive shift, and then being so known for AI to the point that Grayscale even cares about it. I think sometimes people don't consider just how impressive that achievement is. That's like starting off as a baseball player and then suddenly becoming a basketball player. Like, what? That's kind of impressive, right? If that was even hypothetically a possibility. But I'm just saying, the Near protocol did something like that. They started off with ping pong and then ended up playing tennis. That's kind of the analogy that I have. But even besides that point, we've clearly seen the success of something called Near Intense, one of their flagship products, basically. So that's really impressive. And then not to mention, we take a look at when it comes to Near, having an aspect of sharding technology, it's still kind of really impressive. And I think it really matters a lot, especially when it comes to the future hypothetical adoption in regard to AI when it comes to this, because through sharding, Near becomes very scalable. What do I mean by that? Because through sharding, the network is split into multiple sections known as shards. Workload on the network, they're distributed amongst these different shards, and just like I mentioned before, this allegedly makes Near very scalable. What do a lot of AI developers often care about when it comes to a place that they want to build on? They want something that's very scalable, right? Because, of course, they want it to be able to scale if there is more adoption or if things just continue to become larger. So it is a main criteria. And the Near protocol, because the fundamentals were in place, a lot of developers might be seeing that right there. The thing about Near is this. It was a little bit over-engineered, in my opinion, from the get-go, to the point that they were able to shift their focus in a very massive and public way to really have this large emphasis in regard to AI. Other projects out there, they can't really pivot like that because the infrastructure isn't there. It's like, for instance, if let's say there's a 1,000 horsepower engine, now we're cooking, right? We can put in a sports car, or maybe we can put it into a off-road vehicle. We don't know. But at least the power or the engine needs to kind of be the centerpiece, right? It has to be there first before it has the flexibility. Now, keep in mind, I'm not a car expert or something like that, but it's just an analogy that I have. So this is pretty impressive stuff right here when it comes to Near. They focus on the infrastructure first before they really focused on diversifying. So it's a big thumbs up when it comes to, I think, what I'm seeing. It's like, for instance, right? A lot of other projects out there say they're focused on AI, but they can't really handle it. So I don't get why they keep saying that. When it comes to Nier, it gives me this vibe where they focus on the forged internals first before they focus on anything else. It's like, for instance, some people out there, they make the engine really powerful, but then they don't work on the forged internals. What happens? The engine becomes really powerful, but then the forged internals aren't equipped to handle that additional power. Things start breaking down and all this, and it just ends up becoming really bad. But when it comes to Nier, they focus on the forged internals first, so it was easy to kind of update the engine later, or upgrade, I should say. So when it comes to Nier, as of right now, yes, I get it, it's still below $3, so it's not looking the best. But at the same time, though, we have to consider that when it comes to Nier, just around a year ago, what did we see? We saw that, for instance, back in December of 2024, Nier was actually at around $7.50. So what does that mean? We're around 3 times lower than that as of right now. Why is that not such a disappointing thing? Well, it's because here's my rationale. If Nier could just go back to that, it literally feels a little bit like a hypothetical altcoin season to me. I know it wouldn't be because December of 2024 was definitely not an altcoin season, but it just feels like one to me. The reason why is because, again, despite this slight recovery when it comes to Nier, we're still around 3 times lower than December of 2024, which people like to say, who cares about a 3 times movement approximately? That's so boring. Now, I get the argument there, but on the flip side, though, if Bitcoin went back to its all-time high, it's not like it's moving 3 times. It's just not. Maybe it's around 2 times lower than its all-time high, but it's not 3 times lower than its all-time high. So when people take a look at this and they're like, oh, wow, it's so boring. Well, it depends on their purpose and goal, right? I'm not trying to find the next big microcap or something like that. Or let me rephrase it in a better way, right? I'm not trying to find the next microcap that could hypothetically do something so massive. I'm not looking for that. I'm not trying to become the next Jeff Bezos. That's just not what I'm looking for. Personally, for me, the way I take a look at it is that if for whatever reason, in a pure hypothetical, if platinum, silver, or gold or something like that did around a 3 times movement for whatever reason, randomly, I know some people out there personally that if that were to happen in a make-believe scenario, they would be like, whoa, they would think it's so legendary. They would think that it's one of the most fantastic things ever. But suddenly, when it comes to this space, it's viewed as boring suddenly. How does that make sense? I don't agree with that. And we are around 3 times lower than December 2024 when it comes to Nier. Long story short, I like Nier because it has an aspect of AI and it has an aspect of sharding technology. It may seem a little bit boring, but, it's the basics, right? I don't mind. I actually find it pretty cool. I'm still holding, I'm still waiting, I'm still hypothetically dollar cost averaging once a month approximately, but I'm not telling anyone to do anything. However, nonetheless, if there's going to be more updates when it comes to Nier, I'll be sure to make a video on it. So I want to say thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a very amazing day.